It's only fine if a caster does it. This is sort of the binding philosophy of 5th edition when it comes to complexity in the system. Leading up to the release of 5e back in 2014, there was a lot of talk about removing small situational modifiers in favor of the more general advantage and disadvantage mechanics. And yet, here we are today. Every spell has paragraphs of its own rules that you got to know or look up when it's cast. You've got, what is it less complicated now than it used to be if you've got the Peace Cleric's Emboldening Bond plus Bless plus Guidance, all adding D4s to different things under different circumstances with different limitations? So many spells add modifiers, sometimes small modifiers, that only apply in certain situations and for limited durations. We haven't really moved away from small situational modifiers. We've just corralled them into only one set of classes. Now, I will grant you that if you have a party of non-casters, you've got just fighters, barbarians, monks, rogues, you don't really have to worry about all these small situational modifiers for the most part. They still have one or two. Like the barbarian gets very incidental bonuses to damage sometimes. But for the most part, they don't have to deal with it. You're also taking 15 to 20 second turns, which is why 5th edition has a reputation for fast, smooth combat, because turns just go by so quickly until you introduce any spellcaster. And then, because that's where all the complexity is. That's why the system is so light on rules and why it's so easy to learn, because the rules aren't in the general gameplay area. They're in the spells. All the complexity of 5e is in the spells, which means every spell is introducing a new set of rules every time it is cast. This is a weird dynamic for the designers to have taken, I think, because it means that the complexity of the game varies wildly from table to table depending on the party composition. It also means, incidentally, that a third of the classes in the game just don't have access to any of this stuff. And so that contributes greatly to the infamous martial caster disparity. But I digress. This video isn't about that. It's about complexity. There was a thread on Reddit recently that talked about a 10-hour combat. 10 hours split across 2 5-hour sessions. And I thought, damn, that sounds like hell. That sounds terrible. That sounds like a nightmare. And I got to thinking about it, and this is the edition that has the reputation for fast, smooth combat. And the edition that has the reputation for long, boring, plodding combat, 4th edition. I've run high-level 4e content, and it's never taken that long. That's an insane amount of time to spend on one fight. I can't be the only one who thinks that, but 10 hours is ridiculous. But they listed out what was involved in the fight, and I was like, yeah, that averages out to a relatively small amount of time per character. But I just can't help but think that I could run a similar scale fight in 4E in a third the time. And it's gotten me to thinking about about the injustice that has been done to 4th edition. Let me defend my child here. It's not my child. It's my friend, my 4th edition friend. It gets a really bad rap for things that it's just simply not guilty of. And 5th edition gets praised for things it has not earned. And it drives me insane. This is why I'm so passionate about pointing out the problems with 5th edition and defending 4th edition for the things that it gets criticized for unfairly. Because I live in this world where people say things about these two different games that are just opposites. And it's just really interesting to me that that these reputations are stronger than the facts. And the fact of the matter is that 4th edition is very quick. It's very intuitive, and it's very streamlined. 5e is none of those things as soon as you introduce one caster. It's fine if the casters do it to introduce this complexity to the game. Because you can have multiple spells going down for each caster. Every spell has got, well, not every spell. Most spells have like 2 or 3 paragraphs of new rules you have to track and consider. You got triggers happening at the start of people's turns. You got, oh no, this bonus die only applies to these checks. Because if you've got, and I bring this example up again because it is relevant to the party that I'm playing in. If you've got guidance being thrown around, you've got emboldening bond, you've got bless, all going at the same time. That's D4 is added for, okay, so we're going to throw out guidance because that applies to ability checks. If you're not making an ability check, then it's probably an attack roll or saving throw, so that's bless. But emboldening bond can apply to one of any of those if you're within 30 feet of one of the other people who's got an emboldening bond. Like, that is... like, understandably, the rest of my party doesn't really track this stuff. It's kind of on me to remember which bonus D4 applies in any given situation. And it's kind of a headache. Like, it's a headache in a way that I never had playing 4E. Like, there's obviously a lot of stuff going on in 4E. There's a lot of conditions. There's like ongoing damage at the start of your turn. You got to remember to make saving throws at the end of your turn. But... like, it doesn't, it's all packaged up in a much more intuitive way, because like any effect that isn't over at the beginning or end of someone's turn or lasts until the end of the encounter, it's all saving throws. Like, those are the only 3 durations. You can generally almost always just kind of like look at the battlefield and tell what bonuses are applying as far as situational bonuses go. You know, are we flanking? We get combat advantage. Or do you have cover? You get the +2 or the +5 for superior cover. You know, that kind of stuff. And there's way less DM adjudication in 4E. So all the players can contribute to tracking conditions and identifying when things apply. Whereas in 5E, a lot more of it is ask the DM. Because they, like, half the burden of tracking the rules is on them. The players, like, you can make guesses. You can say, I would rule it this way. You can, but the DM's got to do that heavy legwork. And I think that's a big part of why 5e is so slow and clunky. And it is kind of slow and clunky unless you are playing a full party of non-casters. And I think we should not judge the games based on the outliers. And a full martial party is an outlier. Nearly everyone likes to play with spells because spells are the only way you get complexity. And complexity is a source of interesting decision-making. So you've got a choice in 5e between interesting and fast. And you probably can't have both to significant degrees, not in the same way that you can with past editions. So I would encourage people to re-examine their assumptions and re-examine the ideas that they have about the reputations of the games that they play and the games that they do not play. Because there's a lot of bad information out there.